All right, good evening, everybody. It is Thursday, February 9th, 8 p.m. We are so happy you are with us today on the Atlanta News First Plus First Alert Desk. Glad you're with us. We are going to bring you the top stories that you need to know tonight as we head into almost the weekend here. I want to start with the video, though. This is an update to a story we first brought you a couple of weeks ago. It was one that resonated with many of you, many parents, in fact, and the minute I show you this video, you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about here. Viral video out of Paulding County. In an exclusive interview today, the bus driver in this video speaks with Atlanta News First to give us some insight on what exactly happened here. So for a little bit of context, this video you're watching right now shows a Paulding County bus driver, Crystal Johnson, and a parent getting into a fight. The video here later shows students climbing from the bus windows. Atlanta News First, again, we spoke exclusively with that bus driver today who tells us she initially had an uncomfortable exchange with a parent trying to get an all-good elementary student off the bus. The bus driver says some of those kids did not have yellow tags. Tensions escalated, and then it turned into this huge ordeal, including another confrontation between Johnson and a parent. And that's when you start to see the kids climbing out of those windows there. Now, Johnson admits that she brake checked at least once while students were on board. She also admits to raising her voice, but she says she believes if it were not for this viral video, she would still actually have a job. This week, the Paulding County School District fired Johnson after looking at the bus surveillance video from the entire route. The district says that they deemed Johnson violated several safety and operating protocols well before the altercation, and leaders deemed, quote, egregious and jeopardized student safety. So Johnson and that parent who slapped her in that initial video you saw, they both were charged with simple battery. Johnson now says her priority is getting that charge dismissed and also moving on with her life. Again, this is an Atlanta News First exclusive that we heard from that bus driver. Very interesting context to what exactly happened and how we ended up seeing that video that racked up tens of thousands of views all over social media. I know I was shocked when I saw it. I'm sure many of you at home were also very surprised and concerned for many of those kids. And now we're learning a little bit more about why that may have happened. All right, for this next story here, something that could impact any of you who might be service workers or even small business owners. It impacts both the employees as well as the employers here. And it's a pretty interesting one. I'm curious what some of y'all's takes are going to be. But we have received news that could be life-changing for thousands of Georgians who are making minimum wage. State lawmakers are considering legislation that would increase minimum wage right now. Just for context, Georgia's minimum wage is $5.15 per hour. Now, Georgia is actually required to abide by the federal minimum wage, and you'll know that is $7.25. The proposed wage that is going through legislation right now would bring that all the way up to $15 per hour. That is a huge jump. If you work a 40-hour work week, that's almost $400 more every week. Now, the increase does sound great for workers. I'm sure if you're out there, you're watching, and you are a shift worker or, again, maybe in the service industry or another job that makes minimum wage, you're thinking this is amazing. But for some small business owners, well, they're concerned about what this means for them and what is going to happen when they have to pay those fees and those wages that they weren't really used to paying in the past. This could be huge impacts on their business model. And so it'll be really interesting to see how this unfolds over the next several weeks and months as we look towards what's ahead for us. All right, third story here, another piece of legislation that I think a lot of us will be interested in, even though we hope that we never encounter it. This has to do with emergency services. All right, guys, so let's see. I want to show you this video here. And this is what we're calling the EMS Reform Act. So new legislation would help you next time you are in a serious emergency. Right now, some Georgia ambulances can come to your house if you call 911 in an emergency, but they can't actually take you to the hospital. So for example here in College Park, if you have a non-life-threatening injury, maybe like a broken leg or something like that, College Park paramedics can treat you at the scene, but they can't actually take you to the hospital. You'll be left waiting for another ambulance that is allowed to drive you, and sometimes that wait can be way too long. Now, new legislation would allow local fire departments like College Park to treat and then quickly rush that patient to the hospital. Here's where it gets interesting though. organizations like the Georgia EMS Association, which represents EMS providers, paramedics, and EMTs, well, they say the current system isn't the problem, it's communication that's the issue. So now they're planning to bring together reps from each fire department in the area, the Region EMS Council, and Grady. The goal for them is to hopefully fix the problem and reduce those wait times. If you've been following many of our stories that we've done here in the Atlanta metro area, you know that this is not the first time we've heard of people experiencing issues when it comes to getting to the hospital in a quick and timely manner. We've covered stories before where patients have been frustrated at how long the process is for them to get from their actual house into the emergency room to see a physician to help them with their issues. So the whole goal here is for some sort of resolution to fix this issue. All right, fourth story. This one is always hard to talk about. By now, I'm sure you've seen the video out of Turkey and Syria following that devastating earthquake. Right now, the latest update with this is that we know 21,000 people have been determined dead after those earthquakes. We also know that 3 Americans at least have been found dead as a result of that massive earthquake. But we're also, wow, that story is so hard to tell, we're also finding a little bit of good in the situation. I know that sounds a little odd to say maybe, but you always have to look for the people who are helping in tragedies like this. And that's what we're doing today. Right now you're getting a look at the collection inside the Ashika Turkish Community Center of Atlanta. This is over near Alpharetta. People are dropping off winter clothing, diapers, baby formula, blankets, and so much more, all to help people who have been impacted. Organizations here say that they were surprised at just how many donations they got. Honestly, we have so many people here in Atlanta who are always willing to give and do more and step up to the plate whenever we have some sort of challenging situation like this. So it's really amazing to see. The organization says they have already sent out more than 300 boxes to Turkey and Syria as they work to get the rest of the items on another Turkish airline flight. It's truly an amazing effort. Now, some people here can't get in touch with their friends or their family in Turkey. They say that they wanted to do something and that these donations were the very least that they could do. And so always, you know, when we hear about stories like this, they are so hard to tell. But I think, I forget who said this. It might have been, honestly, Mr. Rogers. I don't know if you ever watched that show, but I believe it was him who said, always look for the helpers in situations where there are tragedies. And that's one of the things that we're seeing right now is a lot of people stepping up to help. A lot of people here in Metro Atlanta stepping up. All right, and for my final story tonight, I thought this was too funny not to share, you guys. I know we all have that one ex, maybe more than one ex, but that one ex who we really want to maybe get back at a little bit, and here you can do it in the best possible way. For $10, the Atlanta Humane Society will allow their adoptable cats to go to the bathroom on your ex. Well, kind of. Okay, so it's basically the name of your ex, but they'll place a heart with your former partner's name on it right in the middle of the litter box. Yep. $10. That's how much it's going to cost you, and it'll go to help the animals at the facility. So by engaging in this, you're really helping all these cute little animals. Look at that little dog. They're so sweet, aren't they? Now, if you're interested in getting back at your ex, you can sign up on the Atlanta Humane Society's website. I'm sure many of you are pulling that up right now. And here's the thing, even though you might be doing something a little shady there, it's all for a good cause. We all want to be heroes on Valentine's Day to someone. Maybe that someone could be an animal or something. All right, well, guys, thank you so much for joining me again. We are going to show you a very cloudy, mystic look tonight. This is a look at the Atlanta Metro right now, and you can see a lot of clouds in the sky. Very spooky night. You would almost think that we're getting ready to celebrate Halloween and not Valentine's Day. We have meteorologist Patrick P. with us now, and Patrick, I'm not liking this. What's going on here?
It's definitely a bit gloomy out there, cloudy. We've seen some showers push through the area over the course of the last couple of hours, and that's going to continue to be at least a possibility as we head